WOLFCOM. WOLFCOM stands for Wolf Commander. And when you're at WOLFCOM, we want you to strive to attain all the qualities of leadership. And part of those qualities are honor, courage, and integrity above all else. And that's because we live in the greatest country in the world, a country where men and women gave their lives so that we can enjoy life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So today I'm going to talk about strength and power and why it is important that at WOLFCOM you strive to have both. I'm going to explain to you about the 4 S's of a wolf. The 4 S's is what you need to achieve in order to become successful here at WOLFCOM. The first S is smarter. Every day of your life, you have to be smarter than the last. And you become smarter by reading, watching, touching, doing, and thinking. Now, thinking is a special thing. It's a complicated thing. And I'm not talking about thinking about where you're going to eat, thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow. I'm talking about deep thought. Thinking about your past, your present, and the future. And not just thinking about your own past, present, and future, but the history of mankind and the universe. And only when you have achieved this deep thought can you then really begin to understand the future and where you're going and shape your life and choose your destiny. And so the first S is smarter. And you achieve that by reading, watching, touching, doing, and thinking. Then the second S to attain is sharper. You need to be sharp as a razor. After all, what good is your smarts if you're not sharp enough to apply it? And you become sharper by thinking of possibilities. Just think of all the possibilities out there. The possibilities in your life, the possibilities at WOLFCOM, the possibilities for WOLFCOM. And then we have the third S, stronger. I need you to be stronger, physically stronger, by taking care of your body and your health. You must also be mentally stronger to adapt to everyday situations. But most importantly, you must be emotionally stronger. And when you are stronger in these 3 areas, then you have strength. And only when you have achieved the 3 S's, when you have mastered the 3 S's, only then will you achieve and become the final S. And that's sexier. Smarter, sharper, stronger, sexier, WOLFCOM. That's what we're about. Now I'm going to play a video that I want you to pay careful attention to. It's called The Power of Wolves. And together we can change this world.
One of the most exciting scientific findings of the past half-century has been the discovery of widespread trophic cascades. A trophic cascade is an ecological process which starts at the top of the food chain and tumbles all the way down to the bottom. And the classic example is what happened in the Yellowstone National Park in the United States when wolves were reintroduced in 1995. Now, we all know that wolves kill various species of animals, but perhaps we're slightly less aware that they give life to many others. Before the wolves turned up, they'd been absent for 70 years, that the numbers of deer, because there was nothing to hunt them, had built up and built up in the Yellowstone Park, and despite efforts by humans to control them, they'd managed to reduce much of the vegetation there to almost nothing. They'd just grazed it away. But as soon as the wolves arrived, even though they were few in number, they started to have the most remarkable effects. First, of course, they killed some of the deer, but that wasn't the major thing. Much more significantly, they radically changed the behavior of the deer. The deer started avoiding certain parts of the park, the places where they could be trapped most easily, particularly the valleys and the gorges. and immediately those places started to regenerate. In some areas, the height of the trees quintupled in just 6 years. Bare valley sides quickly became forests of aspen and willow and cottonwood. And as soon as that happened, the birds started moving in. The number of songbirds, of migratory birds, started to increase greatly. The number of beavers started to increase because beavers like to eat the trees. And beavers, like wolves, are ecosystem engineers. They create niches for other species. And the dams they built in the rivers provided habitats for otters and muskrats and ducks and fish and reptiles and amphibians. The wolves killed coyotes, and as a result of that, the number of rabbits and mice began to rise, which meant more hawks, more weasels, more foxes, more badgers. Ravens and bald eagles came down to feed on the carrion that the wolves had left. Bears fed on it too, and their population began to rise as well, partly also because there were more berries growing on the regenerating shrubs. And the bears reinforced the impact of the wolves by killing some of the calves of the deer. But here's where it gets really interesting. The wolves changed the behavior of the rivers. They began to meander less. There was less erosion. The channels narrowed, more pools formed, more riffle sections, all of which were great for wildlife habitats. The rivers changed in response to the wolves. And the reason was that the regenerating forests stabilized the banks so that they collapsed less often, so that the rivers became more fixed in their course. Similarly, by driving the deer out of some places and the vegetation recovering on the valley sides, there was less soil erosion because the vegetation stabilized that as well. So the wolves, small in number, transformed not just the ecosystem of the Yellowstone National Park, this huge area of land, but also its physical geography.